Demos used to be so prolific, a great way for consumers to try before they buy. But then publishers decided demos weren't cool anymore, and we ended up getting less and less of them. Thank God for indies and Steam, bringing a festival of demos for everyone to engorge themselves on, like a selection of hors d'oeuvres at a fancy dinner. I've played a number of these demos the past week or so, and I'm ready to report my findings for you all. Please note, I've no clue if these will still be available for you to play in the future. Sometimes these are just limited time deals. With that out of the way, let's dive into my first highlight. Angerfoot is maybe the bluntest title I could think of for this game, but it's also not inaccurate. It's made by Free Lives, who's made a bunch of stuff previously, and published by Devolver Digital. Oh, that wacky Devolver. The easiest way to describe it is that it's like a first-person Hotline Miami, except somehow on even more cocaine than that game. Your main weapon is kicking. Kick enemies, kick down doors on enemies, kick explosive barrels at enemies, kick grenades back at enemies. Duke Nukem's mighty boot has got nothing on this one pissed off dude and his Converse sneakers. Are those Converse? I don't actually really know shoes very well. You can have guns as well, but there's no reloading, so you'll end up swapping guns a lot. But that's okay, because you can also stun enemies by throwing guns at them. The old reliable method. The game is drenched in such a sweaty fast pace. The booming techno music and the lights that flash along to the beat get you into the manic mindset that you're going to need to beat these levels. You don't always die in one hit like in Hotline Miami. These melee guys, yeah, they'll mess you up. Nice moves, bro. But you can take 2 pistol shots before going down, and health regenerates afterwards. No, it's not realistic, but it gives you some leeway with the ranged enemies when all you have is a boot. And also, are you seeing this game? Do you really think this is going to be realistic? The world is so strange here. It's like Sludge Life lost all of its chill and... Oh, I guess we do have some chill. Oh, this is weird. This is so... Oh, I feel like I'm playing the Sonic Dreams collection again. You can unlock more shoes by accomplishing certain feats. I only unlocked 1 pair because I'm lazy. But it allowed me to charge up sort of a tackle that could get people from afar. Very useful. Oh, I apologize if you see any frame rate dips, by the way. For the most part it was okay, but I was running it at 4K. I said for the most part. This may have been a bit too much. The game is clearly encouraging speedruns and tricky play, because it keeps score for not just how fast you do, but on your runs that kill everyone, and your runs where you only use your foot. No guns allowed, no matter how fun they are. There's a good variety of enemies too present in just this demo, like pipe dudes, gun dudes, shotgun dudes, Uzi dudes, explodey dudes, grenade dudes, and a tentacle! With a knife. And the demo ends with this boss fight. A helicopter! Now, what kind of clever and crafty plan am I gonna have to enact in order to take out this guy? Just kick the shit out of him! Do it! Kick him! Kick him! Do it! This game is incredibly fun though. You should absolutely try this. It's coming out next year, and I can't wait to sink my feet into it. Now for something completely different. Broken Pieces is an odd little duckling. Action, puzzler, horror, it's quite reminiscent of Silent Hill, but it's so tonally different from its influence, I'd hesitate to compare them. The game is made by a French studio called Elsewhere Experience, and it is very French. Your Silent Hill is actually a picturesque French village by the coast. All signs are written en français, and there is a specific undercurrent of life is strange to the whole affair. Maybe it's how the main character comments on things in a specific enthusiastic tone. Maybe how they also listen to music with their portable music player. Maybe it's this imagery of storms. Maybe it's just because this part of the demo revolves around a lighthouse. Maybe I'm just scarred from all the Life is Strange I've played over the years, and so everything French just reminds me of it. Here's where I'd tell you what the game is about, but this is much harder than you'd think. I believe this is the start of the game. The opening credits kept appearing as I played, but there was a continuous feeling I'd just tuned into a TV show, having missed the first 2 episodes. Maybe more. I think our protagonist, Elise, is supernaturally trapped inside this town, and must solve the mystery of what's happening to escape, maybe? It's hard to tell, as Elise has been here long enough to find the situation kind of banal, apparently. Like, what would be your reaction to this idyllic French town having a giant tower where the ocean rises improbably high beyond human sight into the tallest clouds?
Ugh, too bad I don't have change for these tourist traps.
Not my first thought, I'll tell you that. I get she's been here for a while, but there's maybe a bit of a tone problem going on all around. I listened to some tapes that Elise had made before the game started, where everything was beginning to kick off around her, and she kept interrupting her own monologue with strange quips about what I was looking at.
They hunt me like an animal.
I am a living experiment on sugar.
Imagine getting bored of a ghost apocalypse. I mean, I guess that's an interesting idea, but I've no idea what to think about what's presented here. It makes the experience kind of uncanny, but then again, I get the feeling that might be the intended effect. Oh no, you get away from here. We're nowhere near you yet. Anyway, the game controls with a fixed camera, and you solve puzzles by collecting items and using your noggin to work out how to progress. The game also has combat, and like Silent Hill, I'm not convinced it's very good. Elise needs to take a while to get her aim centered, all the while enemies are approaching you. Luckily, you do have magical powers to keep them at bay. Oh, did I not mention you have magical powers? Yeah, neither did this game until casually doing so in the tutorial. What on earth is going on here? Monsters only appear in scripted arena sections, at least from what I saw, and I'm not a fan of being forced into these. Silent Hill often gave you the choice to run your ass away and avoid combat, but here, you're locked in like it's Devil May Cry. I'm not saying horror games can't lock you into combat like this, but the ones that do usually have more engaging fights than this. Though, I wonder if that's always the case. There is a time mechanic in this game, and Elise was very clear she did not want to be out after dark. But the demo ended before I could see what the darkness was actually like. Yeah, I was intrigued enough to finish the demo. Don't get me wrong on what I've been saying, my interest is actually piqued by this. Even though I didn't know what was really going on, but maybe that's part of it. I wasn't expecting a game like this to appear from nowhere, in a location I can't say I've explored too much from other games. And I certainly didn't expect it to behave like this. It's apparently out later this year, and while I may not pick it up day one, it's something I might end up looking into. We'll have to see. I don't want to spend too much time on Cult of the Lamb, as it comes out in August, and I'm absolutely going to be playing it when it comes out. I also keep confusing its title and calling it Lamb of God, but no, that's a band. Cult of the Lamb is made by Massive Monster, and published by Devolver Digital. Again. The game is part dungeon crawler, part city builder, except you're building a cult. A cult worshipping you. You who was meant to be a sacrifice. Get it? 'Cause you're a lamb? But was resurrected by the one who waits. Sounds ominous, but for now, this deity seems to be the lesser of two evils, so it's time to kill the weirdos who try to kill me and bolster the followers I have. You immediately see why you want followers when the game asks you to build things for your camp, and you see that gathering resources is a bit slower compared to the high-stakes action of your unholy crusades. You're better than mining rocks in a field. Have a peon do it. Then make things that'll keep your populace happy and working. The dungeoneering aspect is pretty fun too. It controls well and looks nice, and there appears to be some fun upgrades that you can pick up inside to mix things up. We're not quite the Binding of Isaac, but I suppose this is just the early game still. There's more to do in the dungeon than just kill monsters and go to the end too. Break stuff and you can pick up materials to take to your camp when you're done. If you die, a percentage is taken off your rewards when you're sent back, which seems like a fair price. So then you go back, upgrade some stuff before jumping into the fray once more. At least, I assume so. Because the demo just ended when I died. It's a short demo, but granted the game is out in like 2 months? I think this is the most hyped game Devolver has in its pocket right now, so it'll be interesting to see how Lamb of God turns out. No, Cult of the Lamb, god damn it! Agent 64 Spies Never Die is a first-person shooter made by Replicant D6, and is the easiest game to describe that I've played because it's just GoldenEye. Or Perfect Dark, whichever you prefer. It knows it, you know it, now we're just going to run with it. The demo is short and somewhat bare bones, but an impressive amount of work has gone into making the game feel like its N64 inspirations, and not just in the fact that everyone in the game has a face that is literally a photo of someone just pasted onto the model. Your gun auto-aims to the bodies of the gentlemen you're going to be shooting, but there is an aiming mode for precision headshots. It can be faster, but it's more for getting the drop on people than it is for regular combat use. The way you move is quite heavy too, not like your typical shooter, but enemy shooting patterns mean you could still dodge out of the way of their fire if you think quick enough. Or you can just shoot first. It's why you'd be using the regular auto-aiming mode in the first place. Though progression in this demo is quite linear from what I could tell, there does appear to be an actual emphasis on the player choice between acting stealthily and going all out. Not a whole lot, but your pistol is suppressed, and so long as an enemy's death isn't noticed, you can creep through the level. Not all the way though. I do hope it leans somewhat more on the multiple approaches that GoldenEye sometimes let you take advantage of in its full release, but it's hard to say if it will, solely based on what's here. That said, the game will allow users to make their own levels, apparently, so one can hope that people will just make their own GoldenEyes in the workshop. Agent 64 is coming out later this year. I found it fun and recommend giving it a go, but I'd wager a lot of people know already if this would be their thing or not, just by looking at it. Moving on from the super old to the less old. Do you like fear? Well, you're eating good tonight. Trepang2 is made by Trepang Studios, I hope I'm saying that right, and published by Team 17. It is a game that's been in development a long while. It released a demo to win people over back in 2019, and it absolutely blew everyone's socks off then. And now there's a new demo, so much more polished and so goddamn intense, I had to put that flashing images warning before the start of this section. Calling this game a white-knuckle ride might be an understatement. It's gonna strip the flesh from your hands. Okay, before we get into the shooting though, there is actually a story in this demo. We appear to be a prisoner of some kind being indoctrinated or something along those lines in this facility before someone busts us out. From here, the game introduces stealth as we try to make our way past death squads hunting us down. It goes mostly well for me. Mostly. But eventually, security fails in their mission and signs their death warrants because I release my restraints and find a gun. The ebb and flow of the gunfights in this is some truly special stuff. Sure, you can go and play this like your Call of Duties, but you won't get very far sitting behind a box. You are a predator in this. You need to go out and hunt down these foolish goons like a wolf sniffing out sheep. As well as your lovely fierce slow motion, you can also cloak. I said you were a predator. You can use this to establish an advantageous position at the start or even mid-combat. It is a powerful tool, almost as powerful as your sick melee skills. Hit people, kick people, grab people and use them as a shield, or throw them with a grenade attached. Oh, I never got tired of doing that. There's 4 guns available in this demo. A pistol, a submachine gun, a rifle, and... Oh, this is a sacred moment. Does this shotgun live up to the great legacy of Fear's shotgun? Yes! You can also customize these guns somewhat. Suppressors, stocks, laser sights, all that fun stuff. Later on you can even customize your clothes, which makes sense, as you will be seeing those hands and those feet a lot. The story seems to be hinting at some strange things. You can hear people getting murdered during your escape before you get a gun. And there's this moment where you find a man stabbed with a katana. I think this is the guy who freed us. Why did he kill himself? And why with a katana? It leans weird, and I like it. I think if you're going after fear, you need some kind of strange out there plot, and I'm glad this game isn't just making another creepy little girl. If you beat the first mission, there's more waiting for you. But, oh, an endless horde mode? Don't mind if I do.
Hey.
I'm not making these montages, they're just materializing in my timeline. The loop of this game is such madcap mayhem. It is so much goddamn fun. I want to show more of this off, but I guess I have to look at some other games at some point. Trepang2 is a surefire win, and I wish the developers the best as they polish up this wonder. Signalis is the survival horror game by Rose Engine and published by Playism and Humble Bundle. It is not the most substantial demo presented among this selection, but it is the one that left one of the most interesting and lasting impressions. It takes heavy inspiration from classic Resident Evil and also Silent Hill titles, but has wrapped things up in a world of its own that, well, if a demo's purpose is to make me want to buy the full game, this hits that mark just perfectly. It is the future, and you play as Elster, a technician replica, and the spaceship you were on has crashed onto a snowy planet. But that doesn't feel as important as the fact that there are strange monsters on this ship with you. Shadowy ghosts that, honestly, don't seem bothered by me until I attack them. Oh god. They're kind of unsettling, even when they're not attacking me. Combat is surprisingly similar to Broken Pieces, with a lock-on that needs time to settle. Occasionally the lock-on would break and yeah, that felt annoying. But I did fight the hardest and most weird ghost as my first encounter. Other ones went down easier. But I actually avoided combat with the others. Just gonna sneak by you fellas, don't mind me. The choice is important, especially when the name of the game is inventory management. And oh yes, we have an inventory to manage here, you betcha. Limited space and limited ammo. I'd have ran out if I fought all these guys. A really impressive thing is that this overhead view gives away sometimes to these first-person sections where you can scan the environment. These are really interesting and do a lot to give you a sense of place compared to if the game just had this Metal Gear style angle. But also, it's used to have the environment tell you a story that would have been hard, if not impossible to do otherwise. In this container is a spacesuit, but it's locked. I can't get to it. I look to the one opposite, and it's empty. And open. That is concerning. The end of this demo seems to be promising a serious and heavy narrative focus, a psychological angle to its horror, and brings up more questions that I do want answered. What is with these ghosts? The King in Yellow? What? And the number stations? That's G04, 3-note oddity. That's a real number station, I know that one. What has that got to do with everything? I do hope this ends up being more than just a mystery box. The game is out this year, and I will likely be tuning in. This one's a bit of a change of pace. Terra Nil is a soothing, relaxing, eco-reverse city builder where you transform the dead world into a veritable Garden of Eden. It's made by Free Lives and published by Devolver Digital, and it's such a tranquil experience that I— Wait a minute, that developer name sounds familiar. Angerfoot is maybe the bluntest title I could think of for this game. But it's also not inaccurate. It's made by Free Lives, who's made a bunch of stuff previously, and published by Devolver Digital. What? The same studio that made this also made this? That's That's not just a range, these games are polar opposites of one another. Luckily, however, one thing that Terra Nil shares with its angry friend is that it too is a good time. See, things start off pretty simple. Barren wasteland, make some electricity so you can make a machine that turns the ground into fertile soil. Then from that soil comes the plants. Keep giving life until the game decides to step things up by adding some complications. We need biodiversity, that's key, so why not have different types of land, like wetlands, or beautiful verdant flowers, or great, majestic forests, grown from the ashes of this controlled fire I started. No, really, this is good for the environment, I swear. I am a professional. Oh god, I maybe burned a little too much. But there's also other things to consider. This excavator can build more rivers, but it'll poison the land around it when doing so. You're gonna have to plan around that. If you need more solid bases to make some power, try a doodad that'll condense the ground around the riverbed. Then, it's time to take it up another notch when you introduce climate and temperature mechanics, which you need to get into a delicate balance to get into the right conditions so that you can finally achieve nature is healing. No, really, it's literally healing. After you've managed to clear up all your work, it's time to leave. But not before packing up your toys. Yes, the game asks you to recycle all the equipment you have at the end. The world can manage itself now. It doesn't need your gizmos anymore. This part was cool, but I was less clear on how I was meant to be doing things. Was I really meant to be making a chain of silos just so I can reach and recycle everything? Was I meant to be building more rivers so my drone can just reach things better? Maybe, but I'm not too worried about this, as this was a very tranquil and calming experience. I wonder what more they can do, as they showed at the end this was just one continent of many on this planet. Is this Earth, by the way? I don't know. It probably says on the store page. More play area would be fun, but I also wondered about things like volcanoes or other natural events that could shake things up. That might be a counter to the zen-like feeling the game seems to be going for, though. It doesn't have a release date, not even a release year, so I'm sure the fine folks, and the angry folks, at Free Lives will take the time to work this one out. Terra Nil is a wonderful, chilled out, wholesome experience, and it's like a genuine breath of fresh air, which is more than I could say about the state of the actual real world right now. Oh, fuck.
Oh god, I'm here again!